Everyone, I'm Pam Spaccarotella, and welcome back to another episode of Driver Stories. Today we'll be chatting with Jo Denson, our terminal manager in South Carolina. Jo has been with LGT since 2019 and has been in the industry for almost 18 years. In this episode, we'll hear all about his Navy background, love for trucking, and his journey to become a terminal manager. I've also included a special shout out to him from one of the drivers he's worked with along the way. With that, let's get started. So I think I want to start with your background because I'm really proud of your background, to be honest. And so I thought I'd start and ask, are you originally from South Carolina?
No, I'm not. I'm originally from Paterson, New Jersey. It's close to Bronx, close to New York. It's yeah, I guess you can hear it in my voice a little bit, but yeah, it's not as
Mm.
thick as it could be.
So you're born in New Jersey, and your mom, what did she do?
My mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad was the worker. He was a truck driver as well. So that's where truck driving became a love of mine. Him and my all of my uncles, they drove dump trucks, cement trucks, and over the road and local stuff, and it's just been in my blood. So
Really? Do you have
hmm
brothers and sisters?
yes, I have. I'm the youngest of five. I have an older brother and three
Wow.
sisters, and yeah, that was fun growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bet. So did you go to high school in Jersey?
I went. Here's the thing. It's kind of funny because I've been because my dad was a truck driver, taking jobs from here and there. I was born and raised in Jersey. I moved to Georgia when I was in kindergarten. I stayed in Georgia from kindergarten to second grade, actually to third grade, and then moved back to Jersey from the end of third grade to fourth grade, and then moved back down to South Carolina in seventh grade, and uh, and then moved back to Jersey, eighth grade, and then came back down to South Carolina in for my high school year. So I've been on the move a lot. So yeah, that's why I can
Wow.
kind of like I can adjust to any situation. That's what makes it so easy for me to adjust, and because I moved around so much growing up.
Was your dad an over-the-road truck driver or was he a local driver?
He was over the road for a little bit, but mainly he was local. He did like local tankers, like fly ash and a lot of pneumatic stuff and dump trucks and regular cement mixers and things like that. So yeah, he didn't really
Mm.
like the over the road too much, but he was more of a local guy.
Did you ride with him when you were a kid?
Yes, I did, and that's exactly why. I remember that's exactly why I was 5 years old. I went to work with him one day because my mom had to I think she had a doctor's appointment, and she didn't have a babysitter for me, and my dad, he just took me and my sister on the road with him. It was like a little local route. It was like a couple hours, but just hearing the stacks and the engine
Mm.
and him shifting gears and just it just I fell in love with it, and I said, this is what I want to do. And lo and behold, I became a truck driver myself. So yeah.
Did your dad want you to be a truck driver?
Um, he was really kind of, he just kind of let me do my own thing. Of course I was in the Navy first, and then I decided to do the truck driving thing. But he was very, supportive of whatever I decided to do. But once he did find out that I got my CDL license, oh, he was ecstatic about it. So yeah.
Huh. Cool. Okay, so you're in South Carolina, you go into high school, you're playing sports, and uh, and then you graduate, right?
hmm
And so was it the Navy next?
Yes. Yep. I didn't see myself as a college guy. I couldn't see myself going into debt for something I wasn't going to use. So I was like, well, and I kind of wanted to get as far away as possible and kind of travel and see the world and everything, and help me become a man and establish my own. So that's why I decided to do the Navy and or join the Navy, because I had a lot of influence. My sister was in the Air Force. I had a cousin, had a couple cousins that was in the Army, and my actual electronics teacher in high school, he was a senior chief, and he was on submarines and everything. So he kind of steered me that way because I was going to go Air Force myself, but he kind of persuaded me to to do the Navy thing, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try that out. And being on ships, I said I can't do the submarines, but but I could do the ships and everything. And I wasn't. Yeah, I said I'm not doing
Yeah.
subs.
I can't do the submarines either. Have you ever been on one?
I haven't been inside one, but I have like
Oh,
walked on one where they open up the hatch and go down. But the claustrophobic, I was like, yeah, I didn't
oh
want to
my
freak
God,
myself
yes.
out.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't want to do that. So I could just, I'm good right here.
Yeah. When I was in the Air Force and at the academy, they had a summer program called Operations Air Force, and they would send you to different bases. They'd send the cadets all out to different Air Force bases to kind of see what it's like to be in the real Air Force, right? So
Right.
I was very fortunate. I got selected to go to Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii, where some of my
Wow.
friends went to Minot Air Force Base in
Ooh,
South
North
Dakota.
Dakota.
So yeah, I really got lucky. But one of the things that I got to do over there was I got to go into a nuclear submarine.
Wow.
And yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me because to me, the people who are in nuclear submarines can easily be truck drivers because it's that itty bitty living space. you
Yes.
know, it's all one big area where people sleep and they have these bunks that are maybe, 6 feet by whatever.
Mhm.
And then they have a little square box at the end where you put your personal stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's tight living quarters, and then that hatch, right? When
Yes.
it comes down
Yes.
and there's no light, I don't know how people
Right.
do it. I
Yeah,
just
that
don't.
there's no way. My senior chief, he told, well, my electronics teacher, he told me he didn't see the sun. He didn't see sunlight for what, 6 months or something like that. And when they went
Yeah.
to the North Pole or somewhere, and they had to break through the ice to get up, to kind of surface. And he was like, wow, his eyes had to get adjusted, and it was like negative 70 degrees up there, and it was crazy. I'm like, there's no way I can. Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no way.
So where did they send you to basic?
I went to Great Lakes, Illinois.
Okay.
Um, it's right. It's like north of Chicago. It's actually closer to Wisconsin, but I went to basic in July of 2000, right after high school, graduating high school. Um, yeah, I didn't like basic too much. It's kind of get adjusted and everything, but
Yeah.
it was. I had to get used to people yelling at me and things like that. But yeah, it turned out to be a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. So yeah.
So you went to basic, and then where was your first duty station?
First duty station was in San Diego, California. I was on a
Oh,
USS Wadsworth. It's an
sweet. You were
FFG
on
9.
what?
The USS Wadsworth. It's
Okay.
decommissioned now because we sold it to the Polish Navy. Um, you can look it up. You can Google it. You can still see it. But it's a fast frigate with guided missiles. It's like one of those smaller ships. I wasn't on like an aircraft carrier or anything or destroyer or anything like that. It was a little frigate, Um, and yeah, it was that was probably the best time of my life being on the ship and being on a West Coast cruise and visiting all the different countries and learning different cultures. I mean, that was by far the time of my life in the Navy right there. I loved it. I wish I could have stayed, but you know, your orders are orders.
One of the things that I always carry with me is the camaraderie,
Yes.
of the people that you serve with.
Hmm.
And unless you've served, I don't know if you can ever understand that feeling of unity. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's really an incredible feeling. I mean, the people that you meet. in basic or wherever, or even serve with on a ship, I mean, you friends for life, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still friends with like really really good friends with three people, and I still keep in touch with a lot of them every now and then. So yeah, it's just yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that you can, like you said, live with for the rest of your life. And yeah, it's just you never know. And I like it because it's not just one specific gender or one specific race. It's everybody. It's like one big melting pot, and that's what I love the most
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it truly is an organization that disregards, gender and race and all
Hmm.
those things. It's
Right.
very interesting to me how they've accomplished that.
Yeah.
So, and the rest of us just struggle constantly, but it didn't matter.
Right.
That's the person that you're standing side by side with, right?
Right.
That you're
Right.
willing to go into battle with, and they've got your back and you got theirs. And, the
For
last
the
thing
most
you're
part.
thinking about is those things, right? You're
Right.
thinking
And when
about
we're in yeah,
whether they can shoot straight.
right. Or if we're in the middle of the ocean and we have general quarters because we got hit by some type of like water mine or something like that, and we got to rely on
Yeah.
each other to keep each other alive and things like that. So yeah, a lot of that stuff gets put to the back burner when it comes to minute stuff like race or gender and things like that. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So your specialty in the Navy was what?
I was a yeoman. I was
Okay.
very good at administration and a little bit of IT as well. So good with computers, but my
Wow.
main thing was communication. Um, yeah, so I was really really good at as far as organizing and paperwork and things like that. So I can kind of understand why you kind of chose me for this. So you must have thought of me, but yeah,
Well, well, there's lots of reasons
yeah,
that
just one
that
of the
you
reasons. I
stand.
got you. One of the
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah. So you were stationed in San Diego and then got orders to where?
It was a reserve center, a little. I got shore duty in Mobile, Alabama, and then
Wow.
yeah, it was like a support staff to help out with the reserves and
Okay.
make that they were good to go if they just in case they get called the active for active duty and things like that. So that was pretty cool because it's more of it was kind of like a corporate setting, but it's still military. You can still do the things that you want to do, like PTing and things like that. It was kind of like a regular life out, opposite of being on the ship. So that was a big adjustment for me as well. So yeah, that was my next duty station.
Okay. And then after that, did you get out or did you go
No, no.
someplace else?
Well, after
Yeah.
that, okay, I'll give you the whole timeline. All right,
Yeah,
so
let's hear
San Diego. All right,
it.
San
Let's hear
Diego
it.
ship. Okay, on the ship, and then like I said, Mobile, Alabama is a reserve center. Then I went to Charleston, South Carolina. I was at the weapons station down in Charleston. I was there for about a year and a half, and then went to Buckley Air Force Base. I don't know why they needed Navy over there, but we had another kind of like reserve center over there as well to help out with the reserves and things like that, and help out with recruiting. And then my last duty station was back to Great Lakes at the Redcom. That was like the actual headquarters for the ready reserves, to like for the big people, for the officers and the big time, you know, you know, the captains and the commanders and things like that. So yeah, I had a pretty interesting career. I was everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So how many years were you in?
7 years.
And then what made you decide to get out?
Um, mm, mm, to be quite candid here, I wanted to go back on the ship, but they didn't have any billets open for me, and I kind of was kind of like over the politics and things like that, and I was like, all right, well, it's kind of I'm ready to kind of do my own thing and kind of I like to travel and things like that. So let me go ahead and look at this truck driving thing, and yeah, it was nothing on the Navy's part. I mean, if I could have went back on the ship, or I was like, do you have anything? I mean, I'll go on a freaking aircraft carrier, and I'll go on a destroyer. I'll go on. It was like we don't have
Yeah.
anything available. I'm like, well, I kind of did the shore duty thing, and it's kind of boring to me. And yeah, I think it's time so I can venture off and do something else that I enjoy doing. So that's how it came to be.
And were you an E5, 6,
Yep, I
somewhere?
was an E5.
E5. Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. It was a lot of people recommending me to go to the Naval Academy because they thought I would have been an excellent officer. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I thought about it, but I was like, I kind of like being around the regulars, the enlisted guys. Nothing against khakis and the brass
Right.
and things like that. But I was like, I kind of like being around the regular, the way my personality is. I like to be around the people I can kind of relate to a lot better.
Understood. Uh, okay, so now we're gonna make the transition and you get out and did you go to truck driving school?
Yes, I did. I went to MTC in Hazelwood, Missouri. Yep, I was the second person in my class to get my CDL. My great friend Eddie, he was the first one. He was kind of like a competition. Who's gonna get our CDL first? And yep, he got his first. And the only reason why is because I had something was going on with my license, and yeah, that kind of put me behind the schedule a little bit. But yeah, it was a good thing,
Mm.
good times.
Were you married then?
Yes, I was. My first wife. Yes, and
Ah, okay.
she didn't want me to get into truck driving and everything, and she was kind of used to the military life, and I was like, well, you're gonna do this with you, without you, and and hey, I had to make a choice. Here I
Okay.
am, but now I'm married again.
Yes. Okay, so what was your first truck driving?
I went to Star Transport out of Morton, Illinois.
Huh.
Let's just say that wasn't a good experience. I mean, back in 2007, I mean, they was paying what, like 27 cents a mile, and I mean, it wasn't a good experience. But I understood that I had to kind of pay my dues, so I was like, all right, I'll kind of go ahead and until something else comes up, then I left them and I went to Warner for about a year and a half. I had a dedicated ride with Werner. I was hauling for Target. That was a pretty good gig, but I wanted to get into flatbed, and then I left Werner to go to Arrow Trucking out
Yeah.
of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Then I went to Anderson Trucking out of St. Cloud. That was kind of right after the whole collapsed in 2008, 2009. So they were kind of, freight was slow and they were trying to build back up. And I had got into the lease program, the lease purchase program, and I was like, well, this ain't really working out. Because I mean, I wasn't. That was my first time ever experiencing a lease purchase before, and I was very,
Okay.
kind of green and new, and I was like, well, maybe I'm not ready for that right now. And then eventually I ventured out and got with who was that? I went to Prime. With the Prime, hauled a little bit of refrigerated, and then I got with Landstar as a driver, not an actual owner operator. And I started hauling oversized loads and things like that until I was able to save up enough money to buy my own truck, and then that's when it really took off for me, and haven't looked back since. And
Huh.
then after Landstar, I was with Landstar for 8 years. Then I went with Dart for a little bit, kind of, I was like, all right, I'm done kind of, putting all this money in trucks and things like that. Went with Dart, stayed with them for a year, and then went with Southern Pines. I was like, all right, try this cryogenic thing, try some tanker, and then went with
Oh,
Southern
so you went to
Pines.
Southern Pine, huh?
Yeah, first I
Southern
went with
Pine.
Southern Pines, and then yeah, I was with them
Oh,
for a year, and
okay.
then I met Mr. Tim Patterson. And
I talked to
then
him
he was like,
yesterday, as a matter of
yep,
fact.
yep, talked to Tim, and he said, why don't you come on over to LGT? I'm like, LGT, I see you guys a lot on the road, but I was like, okay, well, can you get me in touch with someone? And he got me in touch with Joy, and here I am. The rest is
Here,
history.
here, here, here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Patterson's from Southern Pines too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He told me his story, and that's exactly why he was like, well, I kind of want you to come over here, and it's a better company, and Pam would treat you
Mhm.
right, and things like that. And I see you're a hard worker. You know you're a runner, and Pam will. I'm sure she was like, I'm sure Pam will enjoy you, and yeah, she'll appreciate your hard work, and yeah, you've been good to me so far.
So I don't remember how many years you drove for us. But I do remember you drove a lot for Air Gas, if I remember right.
Yep. Yep.
And and I think you really like trucking.
I
That's
love
always
it.
been my impression of you.
Yes. Yes. I like it. I mean, I actually love it because it's just one of those things I kind of feel free. You know, it's one of those I don't like kind of being boxed in a lot. Like I'm a Gemini, you know, and we like to be free and things like that. But when you find a company that has your back and let you be you, and you reward them with your hard work and safety and things like that. I represent the company well, and I get rewarded for that. That's not many people can say that about a company. I can say that about, here at LGT, that, it's I love to represent you guys, and yeah, it's yeah. Love it.
Yeah. So I think it was about um, it's been over a year now that you've been the terminal manager in South Carolina.
No, it's been longer than that. I
When
started
was
with
it?
Yeah, all right, as a driver, I started with you at in September 2019. And then
Okay.
20 was it 22? Yeah, 2022, April. That's when I started being a
Okay.
terminal manager, because I started at the same time that Brittany was came on as well. Your daughter Brittany.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
April
told me
22.
no first. Do you remember
Yes,
that?
I did. I mean, but well, hear me out, Pam. The reason why is because
Okay.
because I like I said, I told you from the beginning, I'm like, well, I don't know if I can see myself in that light as far as like a manager. And but because I love trucking so much, I was like, this is what I'm good at. Like I love it. And that would have been a big transition for me to kind of go from like going all out, planning, and all right, I'm delivering here. I got 3 stops here, and I got, going back and get reloaded. I like the hustle of it. I love the hustle of cryogenics and everything. And it came to a screeching halt, but I know you let me kind of get out there and, every now and then and help out with some work. So I'm really grateful and appreciative of that. But it wasn't told like it was just more of a, I don't know, like how do I, because I kind of felt like you had other options that you could have chosen. And that's why I asked you, I'm like, why me, and I'm sure you have other guys that's very qualified for it, and why me? But lo and behold, here we are.
The first challenge that we faced after you said yes, the first challenge was getting you to say yes, but after you finally said yes, was finding a location, right?
Yes,
Was
yes.
Yeah. And so I mean, you want to talk about that a little bit? I mean,
Sure.
you live in a very small town, is that right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. It's Darlington, Florence County. It's very small compared to Omaha, obviously, and compared to a lot of, bigger cities. The challenge that we were running into was it's not finding the places, but places that were already established. Not a lot of people want to give up what they've built, So, um, and if you did find something, running the risk of like, is it enough, or am I going to be able to have, equipment parked here, and what's the security like, and things like that? Are we going to have to share with anybody? And those are the challenges that we ran into in the beginning, especially the first location over in
Mhm.
other side of Darlington, and then of course, finding this place here in Timminsville. I mean, it's everything that you said that you want. And we have a bay here, we have places to park our equipment, and it's an office space here. Yeah, it was very challenging at first, but and I appreciate you giving me that, putting that trust in me to find it, and say, hey, look, all right, I trust Joe's word, and we'll figure this thing out. We'll get it going.
Yeah. You know what's also interesting is as I was listening to you talk about it, in almost all of the terminals that we're at, it's taken at least two locations before we felt comfortable. Like
Right,
Toledo started in one location and now they're in a different place.
right.
Sacramento, we started in Rio Vista and now we're in West Sac. Azusa is
Wow,
where we started, now we're in Santa Fe Springs.
wow,
So it's kind
wow.
of interesting. We started in Darlington and now we're in Timmonsville. So
Right, right,
yeah, it's almost like the first one is what gets our foot in the door to
right,
find the right spot for us.
right, right.
Yeah.
I
So
love it
what
out here. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I love it out here.
Yeah, it's nice. So I think our next step is to try to hire you a maintenance person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the next step. So,
Yep.
um, what do you like most about being a terminal manager versus a driver? Is there I think you're happy with where you're at
Oh
least
yeah,
it's
of course I
yeah.
am. The biggest, I would say, the what I love the most about it is being able to help drivers, because I'm still a driver at heart, and I understand how hard it could be to get support from companies, especially the bigger companies. They kind of just treat you like a number, a truck number. But I know what these guys are going through when it comes to, like, leaving your families, and being out here on the road and things like that, dealing with DOT, dealing with maintenance issues, and not really getting the answers that they really want or need. So I that's my biggest thing, is helping. I'm a helper, and I'll give you the shirt off my back if I could, just to help people. And I don't think we have enough of that, in my opinion. Not saying, not specifically LGC, I'm just talking about in general, in society. We don't have a lot of people that wants to help other people, and I want to be a beacon for that when it comes to, like, the drivers that are on my board, or just anybody at LGT who calls and say, hey, look, hey Joe, can you help me out with this, or what do you think about that? And I just like to be honest, be my authentic self, and just be who I am, and help people. That's my biggest, that's what I love most about it.
Okay, so I think that's one of your greatest strengths. It's probably what drew me to you in the beginning, but I'm going to read to you something that I received from one of your drivers.
Oh,
Okay?
really? Okay.
I I I am and I thought about anyways, it goes without saying I'm just going to read it. He says, "I would just like to take this moment to show my appreciation, gratitude and respect for one of your employees, and that's Joe, terminal manager at Timmonsville in South Carolina. I first met Joe in Mebane, North Carolina when we were both pulling for air gas, and he immediately told me that if I needed help with anything to just give him a call. Now, I know a lot of people say that, but he actually meant it. Fast forward to today. Now he's a terminal manager, and rightfully so. There's not a time that I cannot call Joe, and he will try to help me with any problem. Even if I don't call Joe and he sees that my trailer is broke down or had an accident, like when I hit the deer, he's the first person to call me and ask me what can he do to help. He literally goes above and beyond to make sure that I cannot continue to operate safely and without issues. It's not just with me, it's with other drivers as well. Plain and simple, it's just who he is. When I came here, you asked me why I chose your company, and it was because of the qualities that I respect in Joe."
Wow.
I think that speaks
uh
volumes to who you
wow.
are. Isn't
I
that
think,
amazing?
yes, I mean, wow, wow. I don't know what to say. I mean, and I think that's Corey. That sounds like Corey, because I met
Well, I
Corey.
can't tell you who it is.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. That's only, yeah. I think it was Corey, because you put a lot of things together with the deer strike, and met him in Mebane, and yeah, yeah, that has to be Corey. But yeah, that's just, I don't do it just for a pat on the back or anything like that. Like I said, I understand what these guys are going through, and I just like to be a support system for, for guys who need help. And yeah, that's who I am in general, just not in just trucking, but just who I am as a person. So
Well, I just want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed. So,
no, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm grateful, very, very grateful.
yeah. So I have one last question here, and this is your stump question. Okay, are you ready?
Sure.
What's something that most people don't know about working in the transportation industry that you wish they understood better?
Ooh, that's a hell of
Yeah,
a
that's
question. Yeah, man, I would say I wish they would understand better is that people don't realize how much trucking and economy goes hand in hand. And I wish people would understand you can't have one without the other. And I think that drivers can show impatience when it comes to like lack of work or lack of loads and things like that. And I just wish that more people would understand that it takes more than just driving and just saying, hey, go get loaded and go deliver. I just wish they would kind of understand that everything is it's like a clock, and all the gears have to mesh and everything has to it doesn't go smoothly all the time, but we still have to operate, all as a team and in a collective effort. And I wish that more people would understand that. And if they did, it will run a lot smoother. But I'm hoping I did answer that question.
You did great. If I wish people would spend the time to get to know the drivers. I wish they would take
Yeah.
a few seconds out of their day to express their gratitude. Because
Yeah.
honestly, it's the truck drivers that bring you everything in your household, whether it's food or furniture or, even
Right.
gasoline that you use on a daily basis, or,
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
um, I mean, everything that you use is delivered almost always by a truck. And,
Yes.
they don't understand that these people are, away from their families and away from home on
Right.
a consistent basis, and the struggles that they face every day just trying to make a living. That's what I wish they understood.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
not a lot. It's not a day that goes by where I see people blowing at trucks because he pulled out in front of me. He's going slow, or he's at a red light, and he's loaded. He's taking time to kind of go through his gears and everything. It's just yeah. I just wish there was more patience for truck drivers as well. Quit
Yeah.
flipping us off and quit cutting us off.
All right, here's my last question for you. You have two
Okay.
two daughters, right, Joe?
Yes.
How old are they?
Ava is 9 and Rain is 4.
Yeah. Aren't they happy to have you home?
Oh my, yes, they are. They are. And like I said, I at one point I was I think we are gonna do it, but I know Ava wanted to do a thank you video for you to you specifically for giving me this opportunity to yeah, and but something happened to the point where I forgot and I lost the video. And but yeah, she can if she would have talked to you today, she would say thank you for having my daddy home every day. Even though I get back on the road, whether it's training, helping out with training, or doing some work, but she's very, very thankful. And yeah, and I'm thankful as well.
So what are you gonna do if they come to you one day and say, "I want to be a truck driver"?
Um, I would definitely support it. Women drivers are from what I've known, and the women drivers that I've met, they're excellent drivers, very attention to detail, very very poignant, and very on point when it comes to deliveries and things like that. Not a lot of baloney, not a lot of foolishness, and it's just a lot. I mean, I admire a lot of female drivers out here, especially what they go through, and in a male-dominated industry. So yeah, I wouldn't be against it at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking with us today and sharing your story. It's
Thank
very
you
much
so.
appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
That wraps up this episode. If you enjoy hearing the stories from our drivers, trainers, and terminal managers, please follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To learn more about LGT, please visit our website at lgttransport.com or connect with us on social media. I hope you'll join us on the next episode of Driver Stories.